Hi, and welcome back to the Conscious Movement community. I have a great class planned for you today on how to integrate the core and really help our core to lead us through the flow and help us to feel stronger in all the movements, and especially a couple of these tricky transitions I don't even know if we've ever done here. For this class, I'm going to strongly recommend a foam roller. If you don't have one, you can use a rolled up mat. Let's get started. All right, so I'm lying down with it, tailbone and head onto there. So once I get my spine supported with the roller, the first thing that I'm going to do is let my pelvis come into neutral. So actually let me angle to the side a little bit so you can see it. And again, this is going to be a review from the last class, but we're doing it. Okay, so I got the pelvis and I want to find neutral. So let's just tip the pelvis so that you have a big arch in your lower back, and then tuck so that your lower back flattens all the way into the roller. One more time. Tip so you have a big curve in your lower back, and then tuck. And again, you can do this on the mat with the pillow under your head. And then come into neutral, so that's right in between tucked and arched. And then from here, let's tip the rib cage up, and then let's tip the rib cage down so that it aims straight down to your hips. Now that might feel restrictive because we're not used to holding the core in that position, and it will start to reveal the tension in your shoulders, neck. You'll also notice that once you tip your ribs in, you might feel your neck start to tip up. So let the sides of the jaw release back into position, and then drop your arms down at your side. The first thing that we're going to start off with just heel slides. So without your rib cage pushing up at all, without your pelvis moving, like you had cups of coffee on each one of your hip bones, slowly slide your right leg out. Don't let the coffee spill. Change legs, slowly slide the left leg out, really staying plugged in into the rib cage. Change sides. And this is a great exercise to help to lengthen the psoas. You can even like hold it for a deep stretch after you've warmed up, but we're just using it to warm up instead, and slowly change sides. Notice if your ribs or your neck tipped up at all. Is the pelvis still in neutral? Now maintaining that, bring the left leg up into table, and then try to internally rotate and externally rotate. Internally rotate, externally rotate. Set that foot down and bring the right leg up. Don't spill your coffee. Internally rotate, externally rotate. Internally rotate, externally rotate. Set that foot down. Take your arms up to the ceiling. Now you got the cup of coffee here on your rib cage. Internally rotate your arms, externally rotate, internally rotate, externally rotate, and then with the thumbs pointing straight back, let the right arm drop back without your ribs tipping. Hold the rib cage in its position so you're moving your arm from your core. Feel the difference. Change arms. Bring that arm back up. Now, if you can slide your legs into Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet or heels together, drop the knees, bring your palms together, and then holding the ribs in, slowly let the arms go back. Feel both sides of the rib cage, even onto the roller. Back up. Tip them back. Keep the neck long, don't let the sides of the jaw pop up. Back up. Then bring your knees back together, and let's come into child's pose. So open your mat back up if you're on your mat. And as we go into child's pose, from hands and knees, bring the big toes together. And now I want you to just go back really slowly, still keeping the foam roller feeling. So you won't be able to go all the way back maybe in this variation where we keep the neutral spine. but you're feeling that you're moving back from the hips instead of rounding your spine. Hold the rib cage up, don't let it drop. And then come back up into hands and knees position and slowly start to go back again. Hold the rib cage in, hold the sides of the jaw into position, feel the pubic bone and tailbone lengthen evenly. Come back up onto your hands and your knees. Now as you inhale, tip your sit bones up, wheel the spine like a wave through your spine, roll into extension. And then tuck your buttocks, round through your back. Inhale into extension, flip the sit bones up, wave up through the spine. And tuck the buttocks as you round through your back. Inhale into neutral. Stretch your right arm forward, still holding your ribs in. Stretch your left leg back. Try to keep the roller feeling as you lift the left foot up. So the hand and the foot are up. Then as you exhale, draw the elbow and the knee towards each other and reach back out. But still try to keep that foam roller feeling. Now the cup of coffee is on your lower back. Draw the elbow knee in. Try not to tense your jaw or your throat though. Reach back out. So you're stabilizing from your core, holding the ribs in. One more time, draw in and reach out. Lower your hand and your knee. Change sides. Exhale, draw elbow, knee in and reach out. Holding the flat back neutral spine instead of rounding. We do it both ways. Draw in. Reach out. Draw in, reach out, then lower your hand and your knee down, and then find the neutral spine position like you have the foam roller on your back without locking your elbows or wrists. Step one leg back into plank, and then step the other leg back. Hold this plank 5 breaths. Now, if it's challenging just to hold this new awareness, you're just going to stay here. If you want to try to make it a little more challenging, see if you can lift one leg up a little. And then change legs. Change legs. Change legs. Now focusing on the upper body, see if you can bring your left hand to your right shoulder. Change. Still trying to keep the core awareness. Change. And change. What happened to the neck? What happened to the ribs? What happened to your lumbar? Both hands down. Lie onto your belly. Stretch your arms all the way forward. Keep your neck long in its neutral position. Then lift your left hand up an inch and, keeping your lumbar long, raise your right leg up. Change. Change. And change. Bring your hands back next to your ribs. Inhale into cobra position. And then stretch back into downward facing dog. Last part of our little warm-up, shift into plank pose. And then bring your right knee to your right elbow. Change, left knee to left elbow. And let's start to pick up the pace, but try to keep the integrity of your core as you do. Doing your best to keep the foam roller or mat alignment. And then even faster and then we'll go into opposite elbow, slow it down at first. You can let the hips move here, but try to keep the shoulders stable and then pick up the pace. Hold in plank and stretch into dog. Walk your feet forward to the front. Put a little bend in your knees as you let your head drop. Roll yourself up to stand. Let the pelvis be in its neutral position. Let the rib cage drop down so that the ribs like a pipe aim straight down. And then let your head release back. Then roll your shoulders up by your ears and back onto your back. Shoulder blades, that is. And then relax again. Shoulders roll up by the ears, roll back. Last one, up by your ears. Without your rib cage pushing forward, hold the blades onto the back. And then relax. Take your right thumb up, reach straight up towards the sky. Then turn your palm back, push down behind you. Take your thumb back up, reach back up and overhead. Again with your right arm, thumb reaches up. Keep your knees soft, ribs aiming down as best you can, reach back. Reach your arm back up and down at your side. Left thumb up, turn and reach back. Try not to let the ribs project forward. Reach the arm back up. Last one of moving your arms. Reach up and back, exploring the range of motion, but with this new core awareness. And back at your side. Inhale to raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose. Lower to chaturanga. Pause at the bottom. Press straight back up into plank. Glide back into down dog. Breathe through your nose. Look between your hands. Step walk or float up to the front. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Now have one of your blocks handy. Step back into plank pose and have the block so that it'll go right underneath the bottom sternum when you go to lower. If you don't get it exact, you'll figure it out. Okay, then from plank, let's set the knees down and lower the bottom sternum. Just so like your kind of like nipple band is supported by the roller. I'm sorry, what's it called? The block. And then put your hands into a good position where you feel like you can push. The elbows aren't out to the side. They're not all the way tucked in. And then from here, I want you to feel, can you set yourself up like you're on the roller again? The same feeling. So the rib cage, the neck, the pelvis. Without your rib cage dropping, keeping your collarbones broad, curl your toes and lift your knees, stretch from your feet, hips to your feet, and then engage your legs, engage your glutes, engage your core. Now as light as you can, you're just gonna lift straight up, but use your core muscles instead of just your arms. Hold that. And then set your knees down one more time, lower down slowly onto your block. Find the foam roller feeling lift the knees. Now maintaining it, squeeze your abs. Think of your abs and your glutes bringing you up just as much as your arms. Come straight up. And then glide back into dog pose. Let's do one more round like that. Look forward, step walker float up to the front. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up. Hold your arms up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Press down through the heel, big toe, little toe mound. Let the ribs drop back into position, the neck balance. Spread your arms out to the side as you fold. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose. Lower slowly onto the block. Find the foam roller feeling, find neutral. Curl your toes, lift your knees. Now, can you maintain that neutral, engage your core, engage your glutes, and hover 1 inch off the block? This is chaturanga, this is what you should be doing. Then press straight up. One more time, set your knees down and lower slowly onto the block, pause. Lift the knees, engage your core, hold that foam roller spine, head up in the line, and then hover 1 inch up off the block. Engage your abs. Then lift straight up, downward facing dog. That's what we want to keep coming back to. When we're trying to lower to chaturanga, we're trying to create that same feeling. Now raise your right leg up behind you as you inhale. Exhale your knee to your chest, shift into plank and pull up. Step your foot up by your thumb. Now put a little bend in your back knee, track your right hip, lift your belly, bring your hands to your hips. Reach the hips straight back, lift the head up in the line of the spine. Now grow your back leg through the length of your pelvis. Now from here, bring your hands out in front of you, press your palms together. Then as you exhale, take your arms into a W position. Pretend like you have resistance bands on your wrist and you're trying to pull them up, like there's strong resistance against your wrists. And then bring your hands back down, palms together. Pull back up. Keep the foam roller feeling in your spine. Don't let yourself get wonky. Palms back down in front of you. One more time, lift back up. Keep the neck long, don't let the neck do it. Feel the back of the armpit, back of the shoulder turn on. Then set your left hand down. Bring your right hand to your chest. Turn your rib, your chest, and then take the right arm up. Bring your hand down. Step to plank pose. Optional chaturanga push-up. You can even practice, imagine with your knees down, you're lowering onto the block. Then curl the toes, lift the knees, find that plank position. Push back up, foam roller position. What was I saying? Brain fart. Stretch back into downward dog. Raise your left leg up. Shift into plank, pull your knee up. Step your foot up by your thumb. Put a little bend in your back knee so the pelvis can steer straight back. Then as you press straight down through your left heel, hands to your hips, feel the pelvis balance and reach back, and now grow your back leg through the length of your spine like you're injecting the spine through the back leg. Then maintaining your neutral spine, bring your palms together. And as you exhale, pull the elbows back, pull the wrists back. Drive the elbows back behind you, drive the wrists back. Bring your hands back down. Pull back up. Staying low out over your leg. Hands back down, press your palms together. Last one, pull back up. Feel it strong in the backs of the armpits. Then set your right hand down. Spin your chest. And take your arm up. So movements like that are great to strengthen the back of your shoulder, because when we're doing the chaturanga, we tend to overdo. I mean, as yoga practitioners doing vinyasa yoga, we tend to be strengthening just the chest and internal rotators. So important to focus on the external rotators in the back of the shoulder as well. Bring your hand down, step back into plank. Let's practice that chaturanga push-up. So the knees come down, we'll lower slowly onto the imaginary block. Then lift the knees, engage and push straight back up. Downward facing dog. Look forward, step or float up to the front of your mat. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold. Sit back in a chair pose. Stand Samastiti. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your right foot, drop your back knee. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot. Drop your back knee. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Press down into your middle three knuckles. Wrap your triceps down. Don't let your rib cage sink. Remember when you're on the roller and the rib cage wanted to lift away from it and you had to let it release back? So same thing here. Don't let the ribs drop down to the floor. Release them back in the neutral position and grow the pelvis out of your lower back. Look forward, step or float up to the front. Inhale, find a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Utkatasana. Stand Samastiti. Inhale into chair pose. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your right foot for crescent lunge. So we're going to go back heel up. Drive straight down to your right heel. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Step your left foot, crescent lunge. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Bend your knees and look forward. Step walker, hop up to the top. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale into chair pose. Stand Samastiti. Inhale into chair. Exhale, fold forward. Exhale, chaturanga, step or float back. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Step your right foot, Vira1, or crescent, your call. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot. Inhale, come up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. From down dog, step your right foot for warrior 1. Inhale to reach up. Open up to your side, warrior 2. Hold Vira 2, 5 breaths. Just notice that the more that you attempt to open the chest and stretch the arms, the more your ribcage will want to give up its neutral position. Now tip from your pelvis out over your thigh. Put your hand down and take your left arm over. Press down strong through your feet and come back up into warrior 2. Straighten your right leg as you inhale. Exhale, bend your knee, put your hand down on the inside of your foot now. Block or floor, your call. Left arm goes up. Wrap your left arm behind your back, half or full bind. Then open your arms back up. Bring your left hand down onto the mat. So both hands go to the inside of your foot now. Wiggle your foot over to the side just a little bit. Then from here, hop your back foot or step your back foot an inch or 2 closer. And we're gonna try the preparation for Ekapada Bakasana. So slide your right heel up to your right buttock and you're just gonna hold your right knee up to your right outer armpit. Spread the tops of your blades, push into your hands, hollow out your belly. Now see if you can point your right big toe back as you hold. And then step back into plank pose. Take a vinyasa or just go right back into down dog. Step your left foot. Inhale, come up. Open up to your side, warrior 2. You could even close your eyes for a moment as you hold here and visualize your back on the foam roller again for your spine. Balance across the 3 points of your feet. Feel the heel, the big toe and the little toe mound reaching down into the mat. Now tip your pelvis out over your thigh and place your hand down. Take your right arm over. Press down through your feet and come back up. Straighten your leg. And as you exhale, bend your knee, put your hand down on the inside. Take your right arm up. Half bind or full bind, your call. Now feel as you're holding the spine in this neutral position that you could breathe straight down. Imagine your breath could go all the way down towards your belly. And feel it can help to elongate and smooth out the wrinkly and stuck spots. Open your arms back up. Bring your hands down onto the inside of the foot. Now back heel spins up. Bring your back foot like an inch or two closer. And then from here, with the hands right underneath your shoulders, press down even into the hands. Turn on your core so you're not going to sink into your wrist. And then bring that heel up. Squeeze the heel to the butt, point the toe back and hold. Hollow your belly, push into your hands, spread your blades. Reach the blades out to bottom blades, rather out towards the pinkies. And then step into plank. Take a vinyasa, or just glide right back into down dog. Look in between your feet, hands rather, step or float up to the front, and squat down for a crow pose. So now hook the knees in the outer upper arms, hollow out your belly, spread your blades, keep your neck and your lower back long as you lean in. Practice regular crow, or you can practice unhooking a knee for Ekapadabhakasana. Then make your way back into down dog through vinyasa or not. Step your right foot for warrior one. Open to warrior two. Straighten your right leg and reach into Utthita Trikonasana. Bend your right knee, slide your hand and step up. Bring your right hand to your hip, put a little bend in your knees. Feel your pelvis reach out of your lower back. Let the ribs release back into their position, the neck lengthen like when it was on the roller, and then slowly re-extend your legs. Take your top arm up once you're steady, and then instead of trying to turn your eyes up, turn your rib cage and turn your chest towards the sky or ceiling. bend your right knee and slide back into Vira 2. Reverse warrior, flip your palm and inhale. Vinyasa, or just step right back into down dog. Step your left foot, Vira 1. Open up to your side, 2. Elongate the left leg to straight and reach out for Trikonasana. Now, a little tidbit about what we've been practicing. You'll notice that I've been keeping my gaze either just like straight ahead or even down a little so I can get the foam roller feeling. If we want to look up, it should first come from the chest. The chest should be able to spin all the way. Like your chest shouldn't be down here and like trying to look up. It's going to cut you off. So once you get the chest to turn, then you could let the back of the skull turn down instead of yanking your head up, because that'll throw you all out of alignment. Bend your knee and step or slide up into Ardha Chandrasana. Put a little bend in both of your knees, right hand on your hip. Grow the pelvis out of your lower back. Hold the rib cage in, neck long, and then re-extend your legs, maintaining your neutral length. Take your top arm up once you've turned your chest. Keep the left outer hip gripping back, hold the pelvis. Bend your knee, slide back into Vira 2. Reverse warrior. Vinyasa. Then look forward, step or float up to the front. Squat down for crow pose number 2. This time if you're practicing the one-legged crow, you can practice that again. Or you can hang out in Malasana with me for 5 breaths. When you're done, we'll meet back in down dog. From down dog, step your right foot for crescent lunge. Drive through your right heel. Then bring your hands to prayer and lean out over your knee. Imagine you had an extra set of hands on your hips to keep them tracking straight back as you lean into your foot and raise your back leg. So you should be able to recreate the neutral spine here. If it's too difficult, then I'm going to strongly suggest you put your hands up on blocks so you can strengthen your core and your spine and your hips with good form and good posture, as opposed to like being hunched over and just like, okay, I'm doing the pose. So make sure that you really have that foam roller alignment for your spine. And it's good to look at your reflection in the side to be able to see. Now from here, without your left foot touching the ground, we're going to come up to stand. Bring your knee up. Raise your arms up. Stretch your leg out in front of you. And we'll come into eagle. Bend your right leg. Cross the left leg over and cross your left arm under. Hold here for 5 breaths. Uncross the arms and the legs. Stand in mountain pose. Get the wiggles out. Okay, good. Press straight down through your left heel and bring your right knee up. Hold there or practice Uttita Hasta. Then change hands and twist. Open to your right, whether the leg is bent or straight. Get the chest to turn instead of just throwing the hand behind you. Then come back to center. Turn your right thigh out, cross your ankle just above your knee. Bring the hands to prayer. And start to sit your buttock back like you're sitting in a chair pose. So feel that you have the neutral spine, and then maybe you can sit back deep enough to get the elbows to hook, and then you try to recreate the foam roller feeling in your spine as best you can, because that affects the way the hip stretches. You can hold there or put the hands onto blocks or onto the floor or start to round. And then you can hold that or hook your shin up into your armpits and practice going into flying pigeon. Come back up to stand. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog or take a vinyasa. Step your left foot up to your left thumb. Crescent lunge. Keep your back heel up. You can make the stance a little bit wider for stability as you inhale to raise your arms. Then bring the hands to prayer as you lean out over your knee. You have an extra set of hands on the hips to keep them steering straight back, and you got the foam roller on your back as you lean into your foot and raise your leg. And then just remember, it's more advanced to work towards perfect form than to be holding without any props and collapsing into the spine or not turning on the right muscles. We have to get the muscles to be educated in proper form if we'd like to advance in our practice. So sometimes it takes humility to regress the pose a bit to work towards mastery. That's okay. Level the hips as best you can. Then without your foot touching, engage your core and come up to stand. Bring your arms up and stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Bend your knee, cross your leg over, and cross your right arm under. Uncross your arms and your legs. Whew. That was a long warrior 3 hold. That was good. Stand tall in mountain pose. Then hug your left knee up to your chest. Hold there or go for big toe. Change hands and twist. Come back to center. Arms up, leg up. Notice if you're pushing your ribs out to try to hold your leg up. Turn your thigh out, cross your ankle. Don't do that. Bring your hands to prayer, and then start to sit back like you're sitting into a chair. Just see how much your hip is willing to do. So for some, like some of my students who have been practicing for a long time, really consciously, they just have to stay up like this with their hands at the wall because they're like runners or something and they're never going to get this open. Go towards where you can. We'll hold for 5 breaths. Come back up to stand. Find center. Not sinking forward or back. Balance in between your feet. Let the breath find balance again. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog or take a vinyasa. Then step your right foot. Warrior 1, inhale, come up. Bring your right hand to your hip as you straighten your right leg. Back foot comes a little bit closer. As you stretch your arm, open up the back of the rib cage at the same time. So imagine your arm starting from back here, from your backside rib, and it's like a wing to spread the arm. Then twist, put your hand down, and take your right arm up. Then look down, slide your hand a foot in front of your foot as you raise your back leg. Bring your right hand down, fold forward as you raise the back leg up. Then bring your left knee to the outside of your right ankle and sit back onto the inside of your heel. Wrap your left elbow around and twist. And you're welcome to hold here, or you can lean into Ekapada Kundanyasana, the arm balance. I'm not going to do that one today, but if that's something you want to practice, go ahead. You can also practice sitting on the heel as long as you're not going to destroy your knee or ankle. Then make your way back into down dog or take a vinyasa. Step your left foot, warrior one. Straighten your left leg, back foot comes a little bit closer. Now visualize your arms starting right here from your back rib, like a wing spreading out up into your pinky. And reach and twist. Put your hand down. Find a balance with effort and ease. So even as especially as you're trying to work new actions, I find that I tend to overdo and tense up. Let your breath teach you how to make the new action more yogic. Look down, slide your hand and step up. Bring your hand down for standing splits. Bring your knee to the outside of your left ankle as you sit back onto the inside of your heel and twist. You can stay on the inside of the heel or go on the heel as long as you have like a good virasana already. Or you could go into the arm balance. Release your twist. Then from here, sit into Dandasana. Put a little bend in your knees and bring your pelvis straight up, like your back was against a wall. So perfectly upright with the sacrum. Don't let it tip back at all. Now, when you bring the sacrum upright, where do we all tend to push from? The ribs to try to do it, and maybe even more on one side than the other, which is why you tend to get weird issues more on one side of the back of the other, if that is an issue. So as you ground the center of your heel bones, you don't let the feet twist, ground the center of your sit bones and aim your rib pipe straight down. Okay, we got all that. Now keeping that, then the head comes way forward. Bring the head back against the wall. It feels like you got a double chin now. Then take your arms forward and raise your arms up one at a time, trying to maintain that perfect neutral spine alignment. Now, you guys have heard me say this a bunch of times probably by now, but you should be able to hold this pose for a minute, no problem, holding the perfect core and with straight legs eventually, without the back rounding, before you start getting deep into your inversion practice. Something to consider, especially for headstand. You don't want to be jamming yourself in headstand until your core is strong enough to hold this with the proper balance of flexibility and strength. Notice what's starting to fatigue first and what is gripping or overdoing. Let the effort be more global. Then bring your arms back down, and we'll come into Navasana. Lower into Ardha. Come back up, cross your legs, pick up. Navasana. Ardha. Come back up, cross your legs the other way and pick up. Navasana. Oh man, it's turning into hip flexor torture now. Ardha. Come back up, change the cross, pick up. Lie onto your back. And then we got one more little abdominal exercise to go. Legs come up into table, hands behind your head. As you exhale, crunch up and over towards your right knee, send your left leg forward. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center, to the right. And we'll keep going side to side now. Last 10. Good, then set your feet down, open your arms out to the side. And we're gonna do Jaitara Parivartanasana, the turning of the belly. So bring your knees together. And as you slowly take your knees over towards your right elbow, turn your belly like you're wringing out a towel to bring the knees back to center. Don't let the opposite shoulder lift. Over towards the left. Turn your belly back to center. Over to the right. Now, if your lower back is super healthy and your core is really strong, you could do it with straight legs, bringing the feet over towards the hands. Then hold the legs straight up, hands behind your head, crunch up towards your knees, tuck your pubic bone into your chest, and tuck your tail up and hold it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your hips and your head. Set your feet down, feet the width of the mat. Let your arms open up like cactus arms. And then let the knees swivel to the right as you look to your left. And to deepen the stretch, you could hook your right ankle on the outside left knee, but don't let your rib pipe tip up. Keep your ribs aimed down and your pelvis lengthen out of your lower back. Change sides. Come back to center, hug your knees in and roll up to seated. And then pick up and float back into chaturanga, or just step back into down dog. Okay, this next one is for my tripod headstanders. If you got a tripod headstand practice, you're gonna give this next thing a shot. If you're like, dude, I'm not even messing with the tripod headstand, then I want you to do a set of side planks. You'll start one side, then the other, and then go one forearm and then the other. Otherwise, we're gonna attempt to come into side crow from tripod. It'll look like this. It's fun. So that is directly related to that Jaitara Parivartanasana exercise. You have to be able to like tuck your belly, tuck the knees, and then it requires a lot of core strength to untuck. It's not much upper body strength. Like I'm not pushing a lot with my hands. I am using my core like crazy to get in and out of that. That's one of the things my teacher really emphasized about that. She could bust out a bunch of those, like keep going side to side. And she would say, it's all for my core. Like I don't have a strong upper body. I'm doing it mostly for my core. Your hands are just there to stabilize you and hold the triceps in. And it does require a little bit of upper body strength, but a lot of core. So if you don't have that core, that's where you just come practice these, practice the Jatara. When you're done with your side planks, let's make our way into child's pose. All right, now for upside down time today, I'm gonna leave it up to you. You could practice a headstand, a handstand, or forearm balance, whatever you like. I'm gonna suggest that, or I'm gonna practice the down dog on the forearms, doing alternate leg lifting. But if you prefer to go upside down, headstand or handstand, or forearm balance, go for it. So with the elbows as lined up underneath the shoulders as possible, we'll curl the toes and lift the knees up. Now before you do that, try to find the foam roller feeling for your rib cage. Don't let your rib cage drop. And if you feel steady enough to, hold the leg up for a few breaths. Change legs. And if you're inverting, just ignore this part. Change legs. Maybe you can walk in a little closer. And change legs. When you're done, come to child's pose with the knees together. And then we'll come into Supta Virasana or modified Supta Virasana. So you can come back onto the hands or onto the elbows, or you can lie back over blocks. And then we should do some supported thoracic extension because that's the jam. So if you want to do it from Supta Virasana, you can lie down over the block and just hang out there. Otherwise, you can back bend over your foam roller or your block. I want to do it over a hard block without some cushion though. I put a folded up towel or yoga blanket. But with the roller just below the bra line, at the bottom of the bra line, take a breath in. And as you exhale, roll back. Inhale back up. Exhale, control back. And hold. Come back up. And then we're going to take the roller just a little bit higher, so it's like at the middle bra line. Change the class. Deep breath in and exhale, roll back. Inhale back up. Exhale, roll back. And hold. And see if you can stretch the arms straight back if it's not too much on your lower back. Hands behind the head. And roll back up. All right, so from here you can bust out any two back bends you want to do. You want to do a couple of camels, you want to do a couple of Dhanurasans, you want to do a couple of Urdhva Dhanurasans. It's all good with me. So practice your couple of back bends. I'm going to go Dhanurasana into bridge. So do a couple on your own, and when you're done, we'll just meet on our backs. All right, now lower yourself out of that last back bend. We'll do a supine twist. Open your arms out to the side. Cross your right knee over your left. Shift the hips to the right a little and let your knees go to the left. Bring your knees and your hips back to center. Hips over to the left a little, knees over to the right. Feels so good. So really the focus of today's class was getting into the core, and I hope that with that core work, you felt more stable in your arm balances today. It definitely worked for me. Like, it definitely felt lighter, like my bandhas were happening naturally when I had myself in the right position, when I was plugged into the power of the neutral rib cage. Come back to center. Uncross and take happy baby. And hug your knees to your chest as you roll up. Sit with your legs wide apart. Sit up as tall as you can. Pelvis aim straight down, a rib cage in, head up on top. You can hold that upright seat or tip from your hips, and maintaining a flat back, take a hold of your shins, ankles, or maybe even big toes. So what does it mean for the flat back? Sometimes I get that question, like, what are you trying to say, a flat back? It's the foam roller feeling. I should be able to put a foam roller against your back right now. Your head, your thoracic spine, and your middle tail would all be touching the roller perfectly. I mean, pretty close to perfect. Then hold that or start to go into flexion. So we go into flexion, the spine rounds, but don't just hunch from your spine. Instead, visualize from your pelvic floor like there's a wave rolling up through your spine, and it's going nice and smooth up through your crown, helping you to take the whole spine forward and down, not just hinging from the stiff weak spots. Inhale to come back up. Bring the left leg into Janu Shirshasana position. Turn to face your left knee. Smooth the left thigh down and away. And then slide your right hand to your right inner leg as we go into Parivrtta Janu Shirshasana. Pretty tight here in the QL and psoas for me. So instead of trying to reach all the way over for my foot, I'm just going to try to put myself in a little bit of traction here with the hand behind the head and stretch and open up instead of sink into it. But just feel what works best for your body. Come back up. Oh. The ending poses, man, that's where the good stuff's at. Bring your heel in, turn. But I guess it doesn't feel as good without the beginning. Keep releasing the right sit bone and thigh down as you go up and over. Come back up. Then bring your left ankle bone right onto the space between your right ankle bone and heel. Slide the toes into their little toe warmer position. Turn the palms up. Join the thumb, tip of the thumb, tip of the index finger, other three fingers stretch out for Yana Mudra, the seal of wisdom. Lift up through the triceps so that your chest is lifted, but don't project your rib cage forward. Close your eyes. Ground your pelvic roots. The sit bones aim straight down. The rib pipe aims down. And the roof of your mouth drifts back over top of the pelvic floor. Let the eyes release towards the chest. Let go of any rigidity, but try to maintain good posture. Now visualize your breath traveling as you breathe in from the base of your spine all the way up through the roof of the mouth, up through the crown, up and over to the third eye, the space between the brow. And then as you exhale, visualize it traveling back down. Notice any areas where it's difficult to visualize the breath moving through. And then open your eyes and lie down onto your back. You can lie down on the roller, or you could lie flat on your back. So now as we lie down for Shavasana, like at the beginning on the roller or flat on your back, your choice. Whichever one you're doing, take a moment to set the pelvis into neutral, to let the rib cage soften back into neutral, and for the neck to release, sides of the jaw to release back and down rather. You notice that the chin wants to tip up when the rib cage moves into neutral. Soften the palate, the root of the jaw, the root of the tongue. And slowly make your way now to seated. Namaste. Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you felt what I was talking about, that the work that we did over the roller helped you to feel more connected into your center. So you weren't sinking, and that when we were doing the ab work, you could really integrate that into the arm balances and stuff. Hey, if you found it helpful, let me know. And also if you didn't, let me know too. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.